Hey, y'all. I'm live. I haven't been live in a while. Let me adjust my light here in this way. Let's see. Hi, everybody. Yes, I'm live. This is, and it says I'm live. Yay. I'm just going to check the Facebook so that I am checking the comments because I'm on StreamYard. Let me see. Let me see if I get comments here. Yep. Nope. So how do you go to comments? Okay. Comments. There we go. Haven't done this in a while, as you can see. But I'm coming back to you. It's summer travel and we're ready to go. Yay. It's summer travel. Let me adjust my light here. Oh, yeah. Let's see. And I'm going to share it. Share. Check it out. I'm going to share to, who am I sharing it to? I need to share it to myself. Come on in. I'm going to talk about travel, summer travel 2022. So that's what I want you to do. Okay. Come on in. We're going to talk about that. There's some news, some really updated ideals that you should check out. I know everyone's getting ready for the travel. Let's see. How do I share it to myself? Can't figure out how to share it to myself. Let's see. I forgot how to share it to myself. Well, if you're on my Yvette McQueen MD page, hopefully you've come over from a personal page and checking it out too, so that you can see it. Here we go. Yes, here we go. Share. And now check it out. Check it out. There we go. There we go. It's on the personal page and you can check it out. Okay. All right. So, hi, everybody. I am Yvette McQueen, MD, emergency physician, travel doctor, wellness lifestyle coach, a global physician on a mission to educate about health, travel wellness, and disease prevention. So, I help travelers like you, vacationers, frequent flyers, to stay healthy and safe while they're traveling through my healthy travel tips. See down there, healthytraveltips.com. Make sure you're downloading whatever is the up-to-date one, along with summer care tips. So here we go. Summer 2022. I'm not even going to say post-pandemic because, believe it or not, the pandemic has not been lifted, but everything else has been lifted. All the restrictions, everything were lifted. So summer 2022, people are ready to travel, and it's already started. It started probably with spring break and then traveled on until May, the graduations, college graduations, high school graduations, now family vacations is now June 2022, 2 years out of when the pandemic started, and everything is lifted. Most things in the United States, I'm going to preface the United States, there's no restrictions of travel. There's no restrictions. There's no mask mandate on airplanes anymore. There's some cities still have mask mandates, so you have to pay attention to where you're going. So first of all, the biggest thing, the biggest news is the lift of the COVID test to enter the United States. Hey, you can't see me? Well, I see me on Facebook and everything. Maybe it's your screen. Maybe you can like refresh if you can't see me. But hey, Dr. Jeffries, how are you? So the biggest news, and it hits tonight at midnight, is the COVID testing for international travelers. So if you were international travelers or you were a U.S. traveler traveling outside the U.S., you had to take a COVID test 24 hours before entering the United States. Of course, it had to be negative, or they wouldn't let you in another 5 days. So what I know, I'm excited. It's being lifted tonight, Sunday, June 12th, 12:01 a.m. That's being lifted. So if you're traveling international and you're ready to come back to the United States after midnight tonight, you don't have to take the test anymore. Actually, I have friends traveling and they were scheduled to come back today, and they were like, well, let's just change our ticket to Sunday so we don't have to take the test. So I always carried my test with me. so that I could test in case I didn't find any testing centers around me. But that's good news. So that's the travel industry, the airlines all went and fought for that, and the government, yes, has been lifted. So they're lifting that up. So if you read closely, the administration, the U.S. government is lifting it, but the CDC is saying we will address it in 90 days. If there's any new surges, we'll put it back on. If anything that we find out we have increased numbers coming from out of the country, we'll put it back on. It is June 12th. Guess what 90 days is? September 12th. Guess what? Summer vacation is over with. We know what it's about. People need to travel in the summer without the inhibitors of having to have the test or worry about being positive when they come back. Well, that just means no one knows who's flying on a plane anymore. Guess what's lifted? Airline mask mandates. So I'm going to just put this out here. Don't be a bully if you're flying and you see someone with a mask on. If you don't want to wear a mask, that's fine. That's your personal choice. If other people want to wear a mask, even the employees, let them, because you don't know who or what they're protecting, whether they have disease or family with disease. You don't know what they're protecting. So if people choose to wear a mask, let them wear a mask. Now, I'm also going to preference this. If you're flying international and you are not on a U.S. carrier, that's United, Southwest, Delta, who else is there? American, JetBlue. So I think those are the ones that travel internationally. Oh, Air Alaska. You have to please check with your airline. So if you're on any of the other airlines, like, let me think, British Airways, Aer Lingus, Qatar, Emirates, Singapore Airlines, any of that, they may still have mask mandates. Because when I was in Europe before, I was on British Airways, and sometimes they had mask mandates, sometimes didn't. It was all dependent on where they were flying to, and it was governed by the destination decision. Okay, so if you're flying on an international airline carrier, please check what their guidelines are about masks. Don't go showing up at their check-in and say, I don't have no mask and I refuse to wear one. And they'd be like, you're not going to be flying with us today, because they can deny you boarding, believe it or not. So make sure you check. And that comes to, so that was the first one, the lift of the mask. Number two, that comes to my number one thing when I tell people travel: plan and research. You need to plan and research. I mean, I know there's some spontaneous travelers out there like me that'll just oh, let's go. But I've actually looked at what requirements are. So wherever you're going, whether internationally or domestic, even if the United States, because Alaska has some different guidelines than the mainland United States. So if you plan to go somewhere this summer, please research that destination. What are their requirements? What are their mask, COVID requirements, even group activities, because some activities still have small groups. So if you going somewhere and wanting to plan, 10 people on this excursion, maybe they will only allow 8. So those are things you need to read. And then you get there and you get mad at them. That's their rules. That's their country. Don't get mad at them. So you need to research that before you go. So that's my whole thing. Research and plan before you go, because of the different requirements. Make sure if you're traveling, particularly internationally, get that medical travel insurance. Most domestic, if you're flying, you can check the box that says travel insurance for bag delay and luggage loss. And some of them do have COVID policies. They may be dropping those soon. Think about that. That's another reason to look into medical travel insurance. I don't have any alliances, affiliates, not sponsoring anybody. I'll sponsor you if you want to pay me. But there are several different out there, from GeoBlue to Alliance to Travel Guard to World Nomads, Amex Travel Happy. So there's a lot of where you can find your travel insurance. So make sure if you're internationally, so that will cover not only luggage delay greater than 6 hours, baggage loss, where they reimburse you for items that are lost. What else? And then the medical part, if you should get sick while there, not just COVID. So we're talking about other things. People get sick from other things. They're riding an ATV, they fall off, they're have a car accident. When car accidents is number one reason international travelers go to the hospital. You can get dehydrated. You can be high altitude, get high altitude sickness, and see a doctor. So medical travel insurance will cover that. And of course, if you need to be evacuated either to another country or back to the United States, it will cover that. Make sure you're getting your medical travel insurance. If you leave in the U.S., going to an international spot, even the Caribbean. Even the Caribbean. Because guess what? If they got to send a medical plane down to some random island and pick you up and bring you back to a United States hospital, that's at least $30K. And that's not even the medical part of it. That's just the plane. So think about that. Make sure you're doing that. Okay, summer 2022, this airport situation, this flying situation. Now, I'm mainly staying on flying and not drive. Oh, whoa, I can talk about driving too, but let's talk about the airports. The airports are busy. They've been busy since probably mid-April. It's packed. More people are going. A lot of people have already booked their tickets, but if you're booking your tickets for later in the summer, I would say after June, maybe the prices may drop. That's what I'm hearing, especially if you're booking for late summer. Most people are trying to book for June and July, and those are high priced. Not just the gas, just the everything. Everything is going up. So these airports are busy. You need to get there 2 hours. I'm going to be honest. If you're flying within the United States, get there 2 hours before. If you're flying outside the United States, get there 3 hours before. Because let me tell you what. One, parking. Oh my goodness. I am in Atlanta. Everybody knows that I live in Atlanta. I live right here at the airport. It's sometimes easier for me to Uber than to park there. But then they're close one of their parking decks, and even the offsite parking is crazy packed. So, or if you're at other airports, you don't want to have to spend half an hour driving around looking for parking when you could be checking in. So plan ahead. Some airports let you reserve a spot in their parking space. So look at that up. If not, I would go to the airport because of parking, you'd be driving around. So domestic, you should be there 2 hours ahead of time. International, you should be there an hour ahead of time. Bag, checking a bag. My suggestion is to check a bag. And I know a lot of people don't want to check a bag because of the fees. But if you're traveling, particularly more than 4 days, you usually have more luggage. Check a bag. So if you need to check a bag, the check-in lines are very, very long. Delta has instituted the self bag, where you go in, scan your ticket, and the thing prints out yourself, and you just wrap it around, which is good because it actually saves you time. Because most bags are supposed to be checked in 45 minutes before flight, domestically, 2 hours before internationally, because they need to scan it and look at it. But you definitely need to check it in an hour to 45 minutes before the flight. Well, if you're doing the self-tagging, it actually puts a timestamp on it that if you're just smidget too close, that self bag will help you. Trust me, because I've gotten there at 40 minutes before flight, and I can't check the bag. They're like, no, not doing it. Get on the next flight. And you're supposed to be on the flight of your bag. Think about it. So the baggage set. If you're doing carry-on, make sure you can handle your own baggage. I'm just being honest with you. It is not up to the flight attendants to help you put it up or someone else. Make sure you're handling your own bag. Be able to, and you're gonna have to carry an airport. And if you get stuck in an airport, you're stuck with your baggage. Just think about that. But I know a lot of people like to carry it because internationally, if your baggage is lost, you do have clothes. So a good carry-on is going to include your all essentials. Of course, never pack any electronics. Please don't. Never pack any keys. Keys to your car, don't put it in your checked baggage because you may not ever see it again. Never pack any medicine whatsoever. So your check bag and all your other little essentials you need right then and there. And then internationally, what I usually do is wear good, like black, brown, blue pair of pants, and then have the change of shirt, underwear, and the toiletries with me, little toiletry bag with me. 3 ounces or less, 3.4 ounces or less. Make sure you're doing that. Okay, so TSA lines are long. A lot of people, and even TSA pre-check, because a lot of people during the pandemic have signed up for pre-check and clear. Know your time of dates that they're backed up, because sometimes in Atlanta I can roll through TSA pre-check clear in 6 minutes. Other times, 20 minutes. The other line, it can be 30 minutes to an hour. So remember, I told you that's all in checking or planning your flight. And I know a lot of people like the early morning flights, or what I like to call them old dark 30 flights, because you get to the destination and then you can chill for the afternoon. Sometimes traveling between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. is some of the best time to travel, and then after 7 p.m. I know it's hard to do that with kids. Sometimes with kids, you try to do non-connecting flights, of course. If you're doing a connection flight, because of what's going on this summer, delays, storm, staffing, things like that, make sure your connecting flight is at least 1 hour in between. Now, I know most of you go on the websites and you choose and they say the fastest route, and they may have you 30 or 40 minutes in between connecting. Any slight delay, you're going to miss that connecting. So just make sure you're looking, maybe not always choose the fastest route. So make sure that connecting flight, you have an hour, because you got to pull up to the gate. You got to deplane. Who knows where you are in the plane? Deplane, get to the next gate. And then, so that's why I tell people, make sure you're an hour in between connecting flights, or at least try to be, try at least an hour. Don't pick the fastest always. Plan B, always have a plan B if you miss that connecting flight. I use the apps all the time, the airline apps, which helps me a lot. And I know when things are boarding, what gate, if gates should change, when to do that. But there are so much going on: staffing shortage, pilots, flight attendants. There's been storms running through the country, which would delay. So if there's a storm on the East Coast, and that crew is supposed to fly to, say, Kansas City, and they're supposed to fly to Atlanta. Guess what? If the crew from New York never make it to Kansas City, that Kansas City flight is affected. And that's not exactly somewhere they can have a lot of people they can call up and say, oh, can you do an extra shift? And then that means it's going to affect Atlanta flight. So see how it tumbles down. Even if you have storms in one part of the country, it's going to affect another part of the country. So make sure you're doing that. Have a plan B. So there's been a lot of cancellations and delays. I mean, I know even people internationally have delays and cancellations where because of the shortage, because they couldn't get over there. So they don't have a crew to fly back. So, and there's a timeout, and they have a timeout. They only can fly so many hours a day. So have a plan B if you get delayed. And that's why you're carrying on. You have all your essentials like your medicine, the things you need to do, activities for the kids. I would even pack extra snacks these days, because the food courts and the restaurants in the airports their staffing shortage. They're slow. There's lines to eat. They're closing early. I was in Atlanta airport and it was 9:00 and a lot of restaurants was closed. That was unusual. So make sure you're planning for that. So take some snacks with you. Take your own blanket, because they no longer supply blanket and pillows and you don't want to, even if they're in plastic, have they been sanitized? Get your own travel blanket. One that you can wrap around your book bag or your suitcase or something like that. Take that with you. So have your plan B. And that's why I say plan and research for your summer. Lodging. Let's talk about lodging. Recheck a lot of lodging. I would suggest not doing a third party site. Only because guess what? Where everybody found in a pandemic, if you on all these other third party sites and something get canceled, so if your flight get canceled, you can't make it, you still paying for that night on the third party site. Well, a lot of times, like if you call up Hilton and Marriott or whoever and say, "Look, my flight is canceled, I can't make it tonight," they are will be negotiable. Will say, "Okay, you're gonna come in tomorrow," and that's another reason to be part of people's plan. So make sure whatever hotel or lodging you're booking it at, become a part of their membership because they're more forgiving. Because they're like, even if you're just a beginner, you're part of their membership, and they want to keep you as a customer. So you're like, I can't make it tonight. I'm past that cutoff. Can I book in tomorrow morning? And they'll be like, oh yeah, we'll just change your reservation. What's your member number? Blah 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 blah. So that's why it's important to be not only to rack up the points and the miles, but also because of the customer service. So make sure wherever you're booking, you become a member of their frequent flyer membership, awards points, whatever they decide to call it. That's just a good idea to have. All right. Driving. Gas. Oh my goodness. Cheaper to fly. So yeah, gas is just I live in Atlanta, and sometimes it takes me an hour to get somewhere in Atlanta. That gas. Now I've come to a point where people are like, you want to meet up? Can we meet either middle or no? Because just driving sometimes. Ooh, yes, I can't even. Yeah. So, but if you plan to drive to your destination, plan ahead. Know the gas routes. So it's always good to know what your tank can do. If your tank can do 324 miles, you need to know if there's going to be a gas station. Because some of these highways, you can go 10 miles in between exits. And what if you get to another exit and that gas station is closed? And then you're going like, oh my goodness, I'm on fumes. So plan ahead your gas stops if you're driving long distance with a family. That's what my big, and always, of course, have some type of road type assistance, whatever it is you choose to have, so that if you get in trouble, either with gas, tire, malfunction, your car breaks down, you have someone you can call to come by the roadside and help you. So there's so many different ones out there that you just need to have a roadside assistant plan for your car, especially doing a long trip. You have more than one person. Always have enough water in the car for everybody. They say at least a liter per person in the car. You should have at least a liter of water. Take snacks. You never know what's going to be closed along the way. And have activities. It's not just the tablet and that runs out. Don't forget all your chargers. So those are good things to plan. And then just have a generalized first aid and toolkit in your car for whatever reason. You never know, once again, if you're going to break down and need to fix something real quick, or if someone injures and you just need to band-aid up something real quick while you're traveling in your car. Pack your patience. That's the biggest thing for summer 2022 travel is pack your patience. So I said a lot in these 23 minutes. I'm not going to go on anymore, but this is just keep in touch with me, healthytraveltips.com. And let's see, I said I had travelpediaplannerguide.com. I think I had that on my post. That actually gives you your summer care tips. So I'll come back in a day or so and talk about summer care tips like sunscreen, sun hat. Drowning is the number one reason for kids injury in the summertime. So make sure if you're swimming, have a responsible person that's watching the children at all times, please. I'll go more into summer care tips in a couple days. So keep following me, The Travel Doctor, a global traveling physician. I am here for your health and travel needs. You know, I give travel medicine concierge. Go to drtravel911.com if you ever want to get a travel consult from me, particularly if, what I want to say, particularly if you're going international. Yeah, I can get travel consults, and I can do all that. It's the investigation. You head it over to Spain. You want to make sure what the healthcare system is like. I can do that. You want a high altitude, and you need to know what things you need to do to prepare for that. I can do that. That's what I do. That is what I do. So, okay, I'll see you next time. Thank you for joining me, listening to me. No more COVID tests coming to the United States. International travel for the summer. Yvette McQueen, MD. Ciao, peace and love. Travel safe. Stay well.